Hey everybody, what's up? This is Devin LaVore and
Michelle LaVore
coming at you with the t-shirts. Anyway, no plugs today. That's the last one. So I don't know if you guys know what's going on or have been sensing something in the spirit. But man, God is up to something. And God is up to something huge. I think that's why LANA VAWSER came out with that word, talking about how the enemy wants to keep you out of the library of heaven and all. That's all true, super true, because there's an attack, a distracting attack going on, and me and Michelle, we talked about it at length last night, right? Yeah. And we were like, man, we want the library. We want the kitchen. We want the bathroom of God. You know what I mean?
We want it all.
Yeah, we want everything. And I had a friend of mine from Facebook even email me, and she was like, Brother Devin, have you sensed the big shift going on in the spirit and all that? And I'm like, well, what are you sensing? And then she communicated with me like kind of what she was feeling. And I was like, yeah, I think that's absolutely true. There's been some stuff going on. And I had a chance to look back over the last week or so, a couple videos we've done since doing the visitation video, and I'm like, man, God is definitely up to something. As far as like doing something new. I believe personally we are on the verge of seeing a lot of the things that God sowed in us in 2017. I feel like we're on the verge of seeing that happen like soon. There's a dream I had when we first got here to Nashville about there was this full-grown Chihuahua that I had, and it gave birth to these kind of like 10-week-old German Shepherd puppies, but they were like, it was like they were newborns, but they were big. That's been like on our hearts. Been marinating on that for the past like couple days. I'm like, why is that keep coming up? Like, what is going on with that?
So there's just been so many just kind of cool things that God's been doing the last couple of days, that he's just like kind of connecting things together for us, and just it really all started actually
like prophetic things,
like on when we did the prophetic numbers video, we were actually seeing 33 a lot that day,
a ton.
And so I was just like, that night I was like, all right, we really need to like get into what is God saying with the 33s. And 33 is usually talking about a sign. And so as we were just kind of researching it and praying about it, I was reminded of back in February, we saw 33 and 41 all day long, and it ended up being that was the Eagles won the Super Bowl. And it was 41-33 was the final score.
Oh, okay. Can I give a little bit more backdrop on that backstory? Why is that important? Because what was it? It was like I kept seeing like either 811 or 813. I think it was 811. And I was like, that I really actually love weird numbers that kind of highlight to me like that, because it's very clear, like, okay, this is the Lord trying to get my attention. You see a 33 or a 44 or a 55 or something, it's just like, Lord, you're gonna have to come at me really strong with that number. You know what I mean? And so I was like 811. I was like, and then I think some things kind of transpired, and I was like, but there really was no sign in all of that. Or something.
Yeah, well, it was talking to the Genesis 8:11.
Yeah, Genesis 8:11.
And it talks about sending, like, that there would be, like, a sign, like the sending out the dove, and the dove returned with an olive branch.
And in that context, the Lord said, I am the dove. Remember that?
Yeah.
He was like, I am the dove.
But we felt like there would be a sign.
Because he came back, the dove came back with the leaf.
With the olive leaf. And so we were like, okay, God was saying, like, there's a sign of, like, the olive leaf. And it ended up being the Super Bowl, and
because all day long crazy. I'm seeing 41, and all day long you're seeing 33, and I'm just like, I don't understand this.
Yeah,
we're
just
researching our 41s and our 33s, and now see, that's what I mean by the numbers don't always mean like the textbook definition of what you think they mean. In this particular case, me seeing the 41 and her seeing the 33 was like, I'm giving you both a piece of the sign that I'm bringing to you, that was symbolizing like it's coming soon. You're on the right track. Keep going. And, you know, not many days from now, although I came up with that word like 7 months ago.
But it was just, so basically there, though, it felt like, okay, that was the sign. There was some sort of symbol. But this time when I was reading about the number 33, it seemed different. And I was reading, actually, we've been reading in 1 Kings lately, and we were in chapter, I believe it's 17. And I was reading about Elijah when he's with the widow, and her son dies, and then Elijah prays, and he comes back to life. So at the end of that chapter, or that story, basically the widow is like, now I know you are from God, like that the words that you speak are true. And it just, I really felt like the sign that God was talking about is going to be a sign of that we're going to be saying, wow, Lord, we know that your words are true. Like there was just going to be this depth to it of like, because it's going to bring about, this is actually going to be a fulfillment of things. That is the sign, is the fulfillment of the promise. Right. And so we were talking about it, and you had mentioned I think it's the Luke 2:10, where the angels are with the shepherds, and they're like, hey, here's the sign. You're going to find a baby.
Luke 2:12.
Oh, 2:12.
Luke 2:12.
And it's like, you'll find a baby wrapped in swaddling cloth, lying in a manger.
Because I got online and I was just looking up, or I got on like Bible Gateway and I just typed in the word sign, and I was just like, wow, it's in there 218 times. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, Lord, help me out here, because I don't want to go through 218 scriptures.
Yeah. But it was like, here's the sign really was Jesus. It was the fulfillment of the promise.
Which is awesome, because a sign usually points to the thing. It's usually not the thing. Yeah. It's like the sign and the thing, whatever it was the same thing in the case of Jesus and that which God was birthing in the earth, you know?
And so that's really what I've been feeling like God's been saying. He's like, there is a sign, and the sign, though, is actually going to be the fulfillment of the promises. Yeah. And really, again,
I'm excited.
Yeah. And then this morning, you know, and God has, going back to the dream that Devin was talking about, there was just
about the full-grown Chihuahua giving birth to
the puppies,
two German Shepherd
puppies. And we feel like, and in that dream as well, there was a birth of one, and the other came right on top of it.
Yeah, it surprised me. I remember being surprised in the video. I was surprised that it was like, whoa, what? That came out of you? This puppy, it's a puppy, and it's bigger than your full-grown body. Yeah. How is that even possible? Yeah. And I'm just holding it like this, and I'm going, what? And then before I could even process what was going on, another one just came out and landed right on top of the other one. Yeah. And I'm like, wow! And I just woke up. Yeah. And I knew, I was like, that is a dream from God.
Yeah. And so it was just kind of, this morning I felt like God reconfirmed or reaffirmed that dream. And we just had the TV on, and I'm going through the channels, and
Derby?
Yeah, and I saw that the Kentucky Derby was on today, and I don't watch horse races ever.
Like, ever. You don't
ever.
Even
like, I don't even think about it. Like, and I was like, oh, the Kentucky Derby's on. That's cool. And I was reminded of how in one of our videos earlier this week, we were talking about, you know, being like a horse in a horse race and stuff. Right. And so
it's not your race. You're just training. You're learning how to walk amongst racers.
But I was just like, oh, let me just check it out. You know, I've never seen it, so this could be cool. And of course, when I was looking at it, it's way before the race. I think the race is in like another hour or two. I don't know. But it ends up being that
is crazy. This is insane.
It's the 144th Kentucky Derby. Now, for those of you who don't know, 144 is a very significant number for us and our family.
It's a promise fulfilled number.
Yeah. So what's really crazy is that actually next week here in Nashville is what's called a steeplechase race. And it is going to be the 77th steeplechase race. And 77 is also an important number. And because, so first off, there are 2 horse races, one on top of the other. It's like, it's one right after the other. And so that was super significant. I was just like, wow, that's just like the dream.
Like the dream, yeah.
You know, and here God's just confirming, yes, there's going to be one right after another.
But it's tied to 144 today
and
77 next week. It's like boom, boom. This weekend, next weekend.
And I think what makes that so significant is that, honestly, like when we were back, I believe it was in February, we went,
we went to Georgia. We took a trip to Georgia.
Yeah, we took a trip to Georgia. Yeah. And on our way there, we were seeing the number 77 and we saw 144.
It was insane.
And it was like those 2 numbers
the number of 77s were
paired together, really.
Yeah.
And so it's just very significant that those 2 numbers, again, have been paired together and having to do with the birth. And, you know, we really believe, like, God is speaking, like, hey, I'm getting ready to do this thing in your life. And, and so it's just, there's been so many things like that are just, have been so significant, and just what God is doing and moving, and he's been bringing up so many pictures and just like, you know, we can't say, oh, it's going to happen on this day or that day, but you just know in the spirit. Like,
well, normally we can, but in this particular instance, we just don't have that anointing.
Right. Yeah, normally we just get our dates and everything just
We're just
right
so
on.
spot on with our dates.
So we just really feel like God is on the move. You know, we can't say when things are going to happen, but we can say that the Spirit of God is moving, and he has been saying things and just kind of just showing us and revealing things to us that really make us just look forward and be excited. You know, it was just kind of, you got the scripture this morning about the wise men when they saw the star, like they were filled with like joy.
Well, yeah, can I talk about that?
Yeah.
Well, that was last night. I had an encounter with the Lord last night, and again, a numbers inspired thing. Man, God is just on the numbers right now.
He is.
Seems like he's like back. We haven't had this happen to us in months.
Long
but
time.
It's just like all of a sudden, it's like here are the numbers again. And I've been seeing in the midst of this 33, kind of like when we were on our way to Georgia, we saw 77, but we also saw 144. We've been seeing 33 a lot, but I have also been seeing 210. And I'm like, I know what that means, I think. I think every 210 has to do with a miracle or something like that. You know, in the gospel. So I was like, you know what? And I was up at 2:10 a.m. Yes, I was. That's my normal. That's totally normal for me. And so I'm up. I'm like, all right. I just happened to look at the clock, and it's like 2:10. It's just like, hello. So I was like, that. I'm like, that's it. I'm pausing my Netflix. I'm getting on Bible Gateway, and I looked up every one of Matthew, Mark, Luke, John, chapter 2, verse 10. Some of it I had to read a little more past verse 10 and kind of read it in context to get the gist of what was being said there. But every one of them was about a sign and a wonder and a miracle. Mm-hmm. And I was like, oh my gosh. I sat there for an hour just like praying and just reading and just marinating in what God was saying. And I was just like, again, it was just another confirmation that God was saying the promise fulfilled is the sign. And now this is the thing. It's like we're not doing like, again, I almost feel like I have to make disclaimers sometimes. Because it's like, it's not like we're doing some sort of mysticism thing or trying to make stuff say what we want it to say. This is the Lord. Mm-hmm. I mean, this is the Lord. He's doing this and he's having so much fun. Okay, plug number 2. But it's like, even in the Kentucky Derby today. Now, I don't know if this horse is going to win. If he's going to come in last place. I don't care. But one of the names of the horses in the 144th Kentucky Derby is Promise Fulfilled.
Yeah, Promises Fulfilled.
Promises Fulfilled. Oh, it's Promises?
Uh-huh.
No, it is not. Oh my God. That even makes it better. Because that's the thing. Because we've been feeling like we've had I had a vision about Jesus, sitting in the lawyer's office. And then it actually turns out to be the judge's chambers. Then I had a vision of the graduation. Remember, we were both kind of sharing in that. And then I also had a vision of this promotion, this lady getting promoted. And it was really awesome. And so that makes it even more awesome that it was promises fulfilled. This is one of the names of the horses, because that's what we feel like. We're in the midst of not just a promise being fulfilled. We're in the midst of promises being fulfilled. So many things that have been sowed into us in 2017 we really feel like are going to happen. You know, May 15th of last year, I prophesied it is time for things to be reversed. To date, it is like my most watched video. Go and watch it. There it is, the link right there. But it's like, that's just what's going on. We feel like there's a bubbling and a stirring. And then this morning, even in our God time, I really felt like we just need to just sit and chill and just get before the Lord and hear from God, you know? And everybody heard something from God, you know? Everybody. Something that kind of just tied in, you know? And so, I don't know, there's just so many cool things going on, and it is the Lord stirring up expectancy and excitement. And I just want to share that. I felt like the Lord shared with me this morning that He's like, Devin, I want you to be excited. Yeah. I want you to be excited. And it's like, you're doing it like this. You're like, oh, man, this is all a lot of really cool stuff. Okay, well, we'll see. You know what I mean? In the name of wisdom and all that stuff.
And I don't even think it's always in the name of wisdom. I think it's really more protecting. You know, it's like...
Well, that's the reality. But I think somewhere in the trickery of your mind and heart and whatever, you think, well, I'm just gonna lay that up in my heart. You know, like you're doing the merry, pious thing. You know, but the truth of the matter is you're scared. You know what I mean? You're afraid of being excited.
If I get excited, I'm going to get really disappointed.
Right. Exactly. And the Lord was like, no, I want you. And I felt like the Lord said, excitement is the fruit of expectancy. When you're expecting something good to come in your life, you're going to be excited. Yeah. You're going to, sometimes that's all you can think about. You know what I'm saying? Isn't that right, Annalise? And so, yes, she's sitting right here, behaving. Everyone, give her a hand clap. Anyway, I wasn't talking to you. And so, where was I? That's why so many times in the scripture, it says, rejoice in the Lord and be in high spirits and glory before the Lord, because He's getting ready to do something awesome. Yeah. You know, so that's kind of like what we wanted to share today, is just like, God is really up to something amazing. Yes. And we are excited. I am letting myself loose. Yeah. And Devin, thou art loosed to be excited. And that's another thing the Lord told me. He said, when you are excited, it actually gives me glory. It honors me, because I want you to be excited. Yeah. You know, because that shows that you truly believe. Yeah. You know, yes, you've been disappointed 397 times. That doesn't invalidate the promise. Yeah. There comes a point where the promise is fulfilled, and God has been, you know, a lot of people have been speaking about this. God talked to me about it on, I don't know, when was that? It was a couple weeks ago, about the maturing process and the revealing of the mature sons of God in the earth and all that. So there has been a maturity process, and there's a lot of disappointments in the maturity process, but that does not invalidate the promise. And there comes a point where you have to hold the promise in your hand, and the promise is fulfilled. So we are here to encourage you to believe. Yes. We're here to encourage you to get excited, because there are some great things that are happening and are going to happen. So get excited. Yeah. Sorry if that was a weird edit. So
that's really what we have for you guys today. We just really wanted to share with you what God's been sharing with us. And there really is honestly more that God's revealed just to us personally, of things.
We share like a slice of the pie, don't we?
Yeah, that pertain to just the promises that God has given us. And so we're just really really excited about everything that
Yeah.
he's doing, and we just pray that you guys are also encouraged to just continue to believe and to be excited that God really is, he's up to something. He's always up to something, but
he's up to something big, and he is excited about it, man.
Yeah. And so until next time, guys, we will see you later.
Love you guys. You're awesome.
Bye.